Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. My name is Cindy. You'll be seeing this on February 22nd. So, I want to take a look at sort of the Trump females today. So, part of what prompted this, of course, is, Ivanka has now been told she has to testify with the Tish James investigation, New York, I think it is. They all confuse me, but you all know what investigation I'm talking about, right? The business one, they're in big trouble, et cetera, et cetera. So I want to take a look at her, but you know what? I also want to take a look at Melania because there was some reporting that she recently held a charity due. I didn't quite know what it was, but it was a charity something. And apparently the tickets ranged from, I believe it was $3,000 to $50,000. Okay. But so couple things that like maybe sort of have gotten her into a little bit of trouble. One, there was no indication of how much of the proceeds would actually be going to the charity. But the thing that made it worse is that, well, apparently the charity doesn't exist. There is no charity by that name. So what was she doing? So apparently now she's under investigation, and she's really annoyed that somebody would dare to investigate her. So it was like the hat for sale and the fake charity. I was like, okay, I need to throw some cards on her and see exactly what the heck is going on. So yeah, we're going to focus on the female grifters, if you will, of the Trump family. So here we go. For those of you who have been following along, the truckers convoy in Ottawa has been completely removed. I think it was just shy of 200 arrests. So yeah, they got it done finally, and continue to keep our eye on that because I don't know. I'm not so sure. Even despite some of the hardships, like frozen bank accounts and trucks being towed away and like that, there is a concern that maybe this isn't completely wrapped up at this point. So we're going to keep our eye on that. But let's take a look at Melania, shall we? She's absolutely has my interest. Come on down. I have a question. Ooh, things are flying. The sun is flying. So, exposure, illumination, bright light shining. Let's see. All right. Tell me about Melania Trump. Tell me about Melania Trump. Tell me about Melania Trump. Well, all right, then. So here we go. Let's start with the Seven of Swords, Page of Pentacles, and then the Two of Pentacles, and of course the Knight of Pentacles. So listen, this was all about money, and this was all about how much she could get away with or how much she could put into her coffers. Sometimes I don't know, maybe we just get caught up a little bit by the fact that, she truly couldn't be as bad as her husband. But I have to tell you, her energy, their energy is very, very well suited to each other. They get each other. And for as much as there's talk of, well, she's going to leave him or she's going to divorce him or this or that, the reality is this. They fit together like kind of two peas in a pod. And even though maybe at this point, things. She's scared. Okay, like she's worried. She's scared. She's scared about money. She's scared about what she's going to get, what Baron's going to get. What's going to be left. Because let's make no mistake. I mean, she is quite aware of what was going on behind the scenes. And so she has a pretty good awareness of where the pitfalls are and where they could run into trouble. And since she has no power to keep, her husband, I was going to say keep him under control, but that's like a fool's errand. But, even really encourage him to shush and just be quiet. She worries every time he rants and raves and admits stuff he shouldn't be admitting. It worries her, it scares her, but it scares her because she's just about her own security, her own financial security, how much she's going to get, how much Baron's going to get, like that. That's the energy around her, and that's threatened right now. And why on earth she would have tried to run what looks like it perhaps could have been a little bit of a charity scam, I don't have an answer for. But it definitely looks like, there's trouble in paradise. Boy. 5 of Swords, 8 of Swords, 10 of Swords. So this is the deal, right? She, in some ways, sort of likes to present a little bit like she's the victim and that, she really doesn't have a choice or, whatever her MO is, okay? But the reality is this. She, in her own right, is quite cold and quite calculating. And she truly has been able to sort of get away with a lot of stuff because, she's not necessarily or directly involved in the Trump businesses. I mean, she really is, from Trump's perspective, a piece of arm candy. Unfortunately for him, perhaps, she is a piece of arm candy that is just as cold and calculating and shameless as the man she married. So this is not looking good for her, okay? She's doing some things that really are sending out, I almost like the wrong message. She's sending out messages that say, I'm broke, I'm really scared, I need money, there's not enough money, I don't have enough money, there won't be enough money. Because with her, it really is all about the money. And so what's happening now is she is starting to feel the walls closing in. She's starting to be really impacted by exactly what is going on legally within the Trump, family organization. So there's kind of like a lot of that kind of stuff going on, and it really has her, I guess in a state. From her perspective, she really does feel like she made a lot of sacrifices, and she has hung in there long enough. And there is a part of her that very much wants to sort of legally end the marriage or the situation she's in. But for whatever reason, she's holding firm. So I don't know if she has not been able to negotiate kind of a deal. I don't know whether there is something hanging over her head that she feels could, somehow impact her negatively if that information got out. But there's definitely a feeling that, things are not, they're not going well for her. And the reality is they're not likely to go well. She also has lost her ability to maintain any sort of a balance. With all of the chaos going on around her, she herself is becoming just as agitated and just as erratic. And she's really scared. There are some secrets. There's some stuff going on that is sort of, I don't know, maybe it's present day, maybe it's in her past, but there's definitely some stuff she just doesn't want out there. Is it possible that hubby knows? Is it possible that hubby is threatening her? I don't know. But there's definitely a sense that she is very concerned about retaliation. She is concerned about his completely juvenile inability to speak and conduct himself as a, relatively mature functioning adult. And she is really scared that there are some messages that he could put out there that she doesn't really want put out there. And I think she's protecting, I believe, her son. And, hey, listen, nobody said it was an easy road, but the bottom line is she chose the road and she has supported that road. And so her tower moment is also coming. And you know what? I think that this appearing investigation is actually going to put her in a little bit of the hot seat. I mean, look at this. You have the 10 of Wands. So there's this like burden that is she's carrying. She's got the tower, and following the tower is the card of charity. So what is that telling us, right? There are going to be some investigations or a investigation that is going to actually shake loose a little bit of information that maybe I just want to say maybe that there wasn't an awareness of or people weren't privy to. She is very much going to play excuse me, but I am a first lady and I am accorded as a result special treatment. And yeah, it's going to be no, I don't think so. No, I don't believe so. You are not entitled to anything that anybody else isn't entitled to. You're not above the law. God almighty, aren't we tired of hearing that phrase in connection with them? It's like, how many times do these people need to be told? But so it doesn't feel as if this investigation bears fruit, that it's going to be in any way an exoneration of her. It very definitely feels like there's going to be trouble. And you know what? Listen, they're going to try all the usual tricks. They're going to delay. They're going to take it to the next court. They're going to, completely refuse to cooperate in any way, shape, or form with the investigation. She's not going to, certainly from what I can tell, she's not going to give up. She is not going to flip on Trump. Melania is ruthless in her own way, and she will use whatever clout or leverage that she thinks she has because of who she's married to, and the fact that she sat in the White House for 4 years and did nothing except destroy a rose garden and put out really ugly Christmas decorations and wear inappropriate clothes. But, she thinks she's special. I'm sorry to say, but, she's going to be a wee little bit disappointed, and her fortunes are not going to be kind to her. Now, this is interesting. This Six of Swords here makes you wonder if somewhere in the back of her head there isn't a little bit of an escape plan that she's hatching. But like I said, at this point, I am not seeing any indicator that she is going to leave him until it doesn't serve her to be with him. So for whatever that means, right? As long as she has access to family funds or protection or status. I don't know what kind of status she thinks she has, but she thinks she has it. As long as that's kind of going on, I don't see her leaving him. But again, this is not a match made in heaven, okay? What this is two people who in many, many ways are cut out of the same cloth, who function together in a partnership that is, unique to them. course, that's my card for you know who. The Fool. And that's being followed by strength. I got to say, in this couple, at this point, it definitely looks like she is the stronger. She is the one who is able to keep her own counsel, maybe. She knows when to be quiet. And this little stunt that apparently got pulled with this charity, I don't know, but I think that that is going to bring to her attention that she really, really would have been better off not drawing to herself. And again, you know, the fact that she is sending out messages where she truly is coming across as like bordering on destitute. Again, it's also not a good look, right? Because, I mean, you got that buffoon that she's married to out there, you know, screaming and yelling about how rich he is and his brand is worth $6 billion or something. But the reality is that I don't think that's going to protect her, and I don't think it's going to save her. And I think in some ways it shone a spotlight on her that really, in hindsight, was not such a smart move. But again, this is a clear indicator of that sense that they have of themselves, that they are invincible, they are untouchable, and that they are simply entitled. So speaking of entitled, let's shift now and take a look at Ivanka. Now, Ivanka's a little bit of a different story. I have no reason to believe that she's a particularly clever woman. I have no reason to believe that she has some amazing business skills. I think whatever skills and talents she has, in my opinion, were inherited from Daddy. And I think that she probably has quite a distorted view of herself and her role and her function. And, you know, we're going to lay that at her parents' feet. But again, as I've said before, you know, you get to lay stuff at your parents' feet until maybe your late 20s. But boy, oh boy, after that, grow up, pull up your big girl pants, and take responsibility for your life and your choices. And clearly, I don't know, just nothing about this family makes me think that that's actually a potential. But having said all of that, I think that Jared, because she really is under the protective wing of him. And listen, God knows he is no shining example of anything. But I think that he at least is smart enough to listen to his lawyers. So let's just take a look at Miss Ivanka, shall we? There we go. Tell me about Ivanka. Tell me about Ivanka. Tell me about Ivanka. So, yeah. Yep. Aha. Okay. So this is what we can take from these initial cards. The family continues to be in a state where they revolve around the central figure, which is, you know, the former guy. They really do view him as king. Part of the reason they view him that way is because he has instilled in them that he is one. And, you know, by extension, that would make her a princess. And so she's totally up for that. But he also seems to be in control of the purse strings. And so you really have an energy around him of a lot of fighting, a lot of bickering. But she, like her brothers, frankly, are going to continue to stand behind him or with him because they are now facing investigations into money that that's going to bring them down. I was going to say that could bring them down, but I don't believe it's a could. I actually think it will at some point in a variety of ways going to bring him and them and the family down. And I don't know, maybe when it's all said and done, maybe the brand might be worth $600. I mean, it could be, you know, but maybe they all get little bobbleheads or something. and they, you know, sell those for, you know, a couple bucks. I don't know. Sorry, I'm being facetious, but sometimes, you know, the material's just sitting there. You can't kind of ignore it. And you can actually really see where a family of bobbleheads actually in some crazy way really does define them, right? You've got that, yes, up and down and up and down. And yes, I'll agree with whoever says what. And yes, daddy, if daddy says the world's, you know, fluorescent green, I'm going to agree with him. And, you know, so that's kind of the story there. Everything continues still to revolve around daddy. And the reality is the more out of control he becomes, the more out of control her brother Dawn becomes. But the more frightened she becomes because she is starting to see her path forward as a very sort of almost like as a binary choice. At where she's caught up right now, honestly, energetically, as near as I can figure, is she's trying to do everything in her power to protect herself, protect her family. The problem is that she knows that in order to protect them, she's got to come clean. She's trying to figure out how to come clean without sort of incriminating herself. And again, that's a fool's errand, okay? Because investigators across the board have so much information. She is also in hot water over the inauguration spending. And she, you know, and she tried it had nothing to do with me. I'm just daddy's little girl. And they were like, yeah, no, we got all kinds of stuff that says you absolutely were in control of this thing and you were overcharging people at the hotel because, you know, you could. And there's no records of how that money got spent or no records, I guess, that make any sense or add up. So she's got problems. Like there's the business issues. She has problems with the inauguration. And, you know, it's what's going on now is sort of setting a legal table that says, no, none of you guys are exempt. So you need to come in for to be disposed. Sorry, you need to do this. You're not entitled to not do it. And there is an awareness of how really bad it looks when you do what Eric did and plead the fifth 500 times. Because, of course, you know, that makes you look guilty. I mean, the former guy said that. He said that when he was running, you know, if there is nothing to hide, then you shouldn't be pleading the fifth. You know, his words always get him. But in any case, so that's where she is. She is trying to figure out how to say just enough and not too much. And, you know, maybe she should ask Michael Cohen how that works because it didn't work really well for him. Because then, you know, he wasn't afforded any real like leniency or special treatment because he didn't come clean the way the AGs wanted him to. Right? There you have it. Okay, so, you know, listen, part of what's going on here is like in some ways it's sort of payback, but it's payback in a really interesting way. It is it's very karmic, you know. It is like the way you treated people, what you did to other people, how you made other people feel, what you threatened other people with is now coming back at you. The problem is, or the difference is, you may have had the power to threaten people. The government has the power to bring you right down. Again, cards about kind of bullying and stealing and taking what is not yours to have by any means possible. That is the energy around her. And, yeah, she's scared, but there's some crazy part of her that actually still thinks that she can ride this out. She actually believes that she can sort of straddle that fence. I don't think she's going to be very successful at that. And there comes justice. They can delay it, they can stall it, she can do whatever she wants, but those things that she's being investigated for are serious, and no one's just going to drop it because she screams, "Don't you know who my daddy is?" So it looks like she's also going to be in a wee little bit of trouble. I just want to ask the pendulum. This is the question we all really want answers to, and I have to tell you, I'm not convinced there's a set in concrete answer as yet. But let's see what we can find out. Okay, so pendulum side to side, as you know, it's ready to talk. Back and forth is yes, and round is no. Pendulum, is Ivanka ultimately going to flip on her father? That's a yes. Has she already given investigators information? That's a no. So I guess maybe as things heat up, she may decide that she's got to somehow figure out how to protect herself. And just because I'm nosy, are Jared and Ivanka likely to stay in the area of Florida where they are, where all of their neighbors really don't like them? Are they going to stay there? No. And as part of the reason that they're going to not stay there is, one, financial. Maybe they just can't afford to be there. And two, the fact that they really are going to be social outcasts, and that's just a little too hard on her ego. Is that also going to play into it? Yeah. And I don't know where they're going to go because they sure as heck aren't welcome in New York either. Okay. So it looks like the female grifters are starting to get found out, brought into line, investigated. And, I'm pretty sure that it's not going to go well for them. But, we all make our choices and we all deal with the consequences for good or bad. So, thank you very, very much for being here. As always, I am so grateful for your support in all ways. So I thank you for that. Thank you for the donations. They're so appreciated. Thank you so, so much. Okay. You take care. Be well. And we'll see you really soon. Bye-bye.